Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. It is so exciting to be here on the show each and every single week, bringing the best news and available resources in the foreclosure investing world. A little bit of housekeeping before we get going. If you haven't done so already, you've got to head out and join the Facebook group. It's www.fdcoachgroup.com. We're going to pop the URL there at the bottom so you can see it. It's going to be scrolling throughout the show. Join on up. This is a great place to get instant information about deals, to post your deals, and perhaps most importantly, to learn more about how you can get started getting into the coaching program and starting your real estate investing career here in 2023. So, you know me, Donnie Corum, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, and if you know me well, you also know that we focus a lot of time on the mindset of doing foreclosure investing. And one of my favorite mindset guys is none other than Tony Robbins, who comes at us with this incredible quote: setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Let's process that for just a little bit. Perhaps your goal is to do your first real estate investment deal here in 2023. So how do you turn that from a invisible, crazy conceptual idea to actual reality, turning the invisible into the visible? Well, in order for you to understand how to do that, I'd like to share a story with you. How about a little story time? You ready for that? Okay, so many years ago, I was probably much like you. I was working in a job I wasn't super fond of. I was in the software world, which is where I thought I was going to make my career. I got a degree in computer information systems management. I was working as a tech support engineer in a company called ConfigureSoft. And although I loved the company and I loved the people, I really didn't care much for the job itself. And I could tell very early on that this was not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. Are you feeling that way right now? Are you listening to this show and going, man, I love this gig kind of, but it's not where I want to spend the rest of my life? Well, if that describes you, your first step to transitioning from where you are now to the wide world of real estate investing, which I can tell you is a whole lot more lucrative than most jobs, okay? Definitely pays better, gives you a great deal more time freedom, and most importantly, it's a ton of fun when it's done correctly. Well, my first step was, I can distinctly remember this. I took a piece of paper out. This is when we still use paper. And I wrote down, I'm going to be a full-time real estate investor by 12 months from this date, okay? In that same moment, I was working with a guy who saw me writing this down, okay? So he saw this piece of paper. I had plastered it on the wall of my cubicle wall, so I was living in cubicle farm hell for a while, okay? But I turned it from an invisible concept to a visible idea by putting it in writing. And that spawned a conversation where Greg was the guy's name. He says, I've always wanted to flip a house. And I go, heck, I've always wanted to flip a house too. That set this whole thing in motion where I ended up doing my first deal less than 6 months from that point. I think it was closer to 3 months in. I did a deal. Greg was my partner on the deal. And although we did pretty much everything wrong, okay, we didn't flip it right, we didn't know anything about construction, I didn't get my pricing accurate, though I managed to do everything wrong, I still walked out of that closing with a check, which I promptly cashed and brought home to my wife for $17,846.32. But the takeaway I want you to get is, as Tony mentioned, I want to pop this up again because I need you to see this. Setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Are you dealing with the goal of doing your first real estate investment deal in 2023? If so, I'm going to give you some poignant action items, but the first step is to set that goal, and in setting that goal, you have got to write it down. And I mean it. Stop what you're doing. Pause this video if you need to, whip out a piece of paper, whip out the notes app on your phone, whatever it's going to take to make this a tangible, visible goal. I want you to take that first step in this moment. I'll wait. All right, you got it? Did you write it down? Okay, because we've got to make this a realistic activity. If we have any shot of bringing this into reality, you've got to make this happen. Tony Robbins, he doesn't lie, all right? He's telling the truth here. You got to write it down. I can look back to that moment in my life, and I know with absolute confidence that writing it down was the deciding factor in the guy who was sitting in a cubicle farm at a job he couldn't stand to the guy that's now addressing you on this video, on this podcast as a foreclosure deals coach, now helping people nationally to do their first deal. I'm 100% confident I can help you to do the same. Okay, let's keep going because that's our goal setting. That's our mindset piece of the day. We lead in from mindset into a current news article about foreclosure activity. Check this out. This comes from Adam Data, one of my favorite data providers related to the foreclosure market. And they describe that U.S. foreclosure activity doubles annually. Listen to that, doubles annually, but still below pre-pandemic levels. Why is that important to you as a foreclosure investor? Well, part of the problem with finding a foreclosure deal starting way back in, say, like 2019 is that there simply weren't any. The market was accelerating so fast that people didn't have to foreclose. They could list their property, or in certain markets, they didn't have to list the property. They could yell house for sale as loud as they wanted, and somebody would show up and buy that property. That went on for the majority of 2019. Then coronavirus hit, and I don't know about you, but I thought that was the end, okay? I really believed that was gonna be a big change that was gonna cause a massive crisis in the real estate market. Boy, was I wrong. Okay, what happened was the exact opposite. I think people getting shut in their home for that prolonged period of time made them realize that was not the house they wanted to live in, right? So suddenly they started shopping for houses, and 2020 was a riotous year, to describe it in a simple term. House values went way up. That continued into 2021 and really only got quote unquote bad about halfway 2022 when rates went up in June and things started to dip off. Look at this chart here, okay? You can see the foreclosure starts and how they came up, then they went down to almost nothing, right? And now they're back up. They've doubled since that time. People are starting to lose their homes. Now, I don't want to come across like this is a good thing for the people losing their homes. We've got a lot of ads out there, and people are posting, oh my God, you're benefiting or profiting from the misfortune of others. Far from it. You have to understand that things change in people's lives all the time. Divorce, job loss, death, things like that happen, okay? We're not profiting from that loss. Let me take that back. We are definitely making a profit from the loss of foreclosures, but it's gonna happen anyway. See, if not you taking advantage of that situation, the banks owns the property anyway, and some other savvy investor is gonna get this property at a discount. Do you think Warren Buffett feels bad when he buys a company at half of its value because it dipped in price? Heck no, right? Investors understand that opportunities are everywhere, and one of the many opportunities in real estate investing is foreclosures. So if you're out there looking and working within that market, you're going to get opportunities that's not taking advantage of the misfortunes, but rather understanding that those misfortunes were going to happen anyway. We're simply there. We're analyzing the market. We understand how the market is operating so we can capitalize on that. And in doing so, look what happens. Your family benefits. The lender who works on that deal benefits. The bank that needs to get rid of that property benefits, okay? Because if banks get stuck with inventory, it drags prices down overall. That whole neighborhood that has a foreclosure in it is being reduced in value because that foreclosure is sitting on the market. See what I'm saying? Then you have the construction crews. We spent several $1 million on construction in 2021 alone. People's families, their lives were impacted positively because they were employed. Have you heard already that people are laying off? Builders aren't building as much. You've got families impacted by this that are going to want to work on these properties and benefit them. And then you've got the entire real estate community that did half of the transactions last year, right? And is now struggling, that is counting on inventory coming on the market that they can sell, counting on properties that are going to be nice that they can provide to their buyers. Everybody benefits when we take foreclosures off of the market. Okay, so we're not taking advantage of it. We're just tracking it. As you can see here, there are 324,000 properties with foreclosure filings in 2022, which represents a very small percentage, 0.23% of all housing units, but that is slightly up from 2021. And the trend is that it's going to continue to go up that way as rates increase and people are going to lose their homes due to whatever their circumstances are. Okay, the question is, do you want to be in the receiving end of that? Or do you want to be on the losing end of that? Right. And for me, it's an absolute no brainer. I can help you to be on the receiving end of the foreclosure market by tracking the analysis and seeing the cycle, as you're seeing here, that it went way up back in 2010 and 2008. And I got to tell you, okay, I've had some really positive income earning years of my life, but nothing compared to the 2009, 2010 era where you can see here foreclosure filings were at all-time highs. Doesn't that seem counterproductive? If there are a bunch of people losing their homes, how did I make so much money during that time? Well, if you learn how to navigate a declining market, you can make more money than you can in an up market. Let me say that again. Okay, it is easy to make money when the market is going up. Okay, we had deals last year that the market kept rallying upwards. By the time we were done with it, we were making 30, 40 grand more than we intended on the property because the market was heading upward. A blind monkey could flip in that market. Okay, the people who are going to be able to flip in the market that's happening now have to be more educated, more intelligent, and really understand the market dynamic. Now, as a listener to the show, I know you're already one of those people, but you got to get even more educated. And now, if you want to make real estate investing your reality, you've got to take some actual action to move that forward. Okay, this article is simply showing us that the chart is changing the opposite direction. Went way up, came way down, right? And now it's heading back way up again. This is the time that you want to get involved in this and make your income, build some wealth, and obtain your freedom by investing in these distressed and below market properties. Now is the time. Okay, let's get that off the screen here and keep things moving along. Next up, I want to talk to you guys about how it works to get into coaching and how that goal that you just wrote down on getting to real estate investing is going to work in real time. Phase one, as I already alluded to, is I want you to head out to fdcoachgroup.com and I want you to join the Facebook group. There's a wealth of free information in there. And just for joining, I'm going to get you a copy of my free ebook, The Hidden Foreclosure Deals Market, which is going to walk you through a handful of my favorite sources for finding deals right there in your local market. Once you understand how to find deals, I promise you, your mind is going to be blown for a little bit. Okay, because there's a mindset for so many years that there were no deals on the market that a lot of people got used to that concept. I still talk to clients, would-be clients every day, and it opens with, but there are no deals in my market, or you can't find deals on market here because there are bidding wars all over. Listen, although that was definitely true for the beginning half of last year and definitely the year before, I can tell you from personal experience that really hot deals are sitting on the market for days or even weeks right now while the market adjusts to a new marketplace. But the obvious concern you're going to have is, what if I can't sell the property later? Well, I've been at this since 2008 when I did my first deal, and I can tell you I've not once not been able to sell a property ultimately. Okay, that doesn't mean it sold exactly when I wanted it to. It doesn't mean it sold for exactly what I wanted for it. But what you need to know about market absorption is it always happens over whatever the time frame is. Now, right here in my local market in Colorado Springs, Colorado, days on market went from really hours on market in 2021 and early 2022 to an average days on market of 41 days. Now, why did that happen? Interest rates went up. When interest rates went up, inventory went up alongside it. And the net result was it simply takes a little bit longer to sell a property. So days on market is now 41 days, but that's across all price points. What I teach in my coaching program is to focus on the entry-level buyer price points. Why? Because there are always going to be a first-time home buyer. There is somebody turning of age, which is generally 27 to 28, right now, today. Happy birthday to you, if that describes you. But there's somebody getting of age right now where they just entered the first-time home buying market, and that's happening each and every single day. Somebody's getting a new job, right, where now their income is where it needs to be. Somebody's having a baby, or doing the practice that it takes to have a baby. if you know what I mean, right? So that's happening everywhere all the time. Okay, so there are newcomers to the market all the time. So if you're providing a pretty entry-level product, you will always have a buyer. Because there's more inventory, it's taking a little bit longer to get them sold. But don't get in the mindset that houses aren't selling. They're just selling less. And you got to keep in mind, as I say all the time, that the buyers that are left standing, they expect more out of their property. They're either going to get a much better deal, meaning you're going to price it well below market, which is a possibility. We're doing what we call wholetailing. Right? We buy the property, do a lipstick on a pig, real basic remodel on the property, and then we are just relisting it. Right? You can buy properties distressed enough that you don't have to do a ton of work to the property. Or if you're going to go the other side of it, we're going to price it at market, not above market like we were doing for a while, but at market. You are now going to also have to make sure that house is gorgeous. So what's the right interior design colors to use? What does a property have to look like to get that desired result? And because construction's getting cheaper, now that there are more laborers available to do so, you can build a nicer product for much less than I could in 2020 and 2021. Okay, the net result is either you're going to swing to one side or the other. You're going to do a nicer product, or you're going to cut the rehab cost and you're going to sell it cheaper. In either case, once you understand your target buyer, you understand who you're trying to sell this property to, you're simply creating a desired product for that audience. It really isn't rocket science, folks. The reason why people don't do it, honestly, because they don't have hand holding. And to be frank with you, I use this example a lot because I like it. If you were going to be flying an aircraft, right? Your goal is to become a pilot. You wouldn't hop in a plane, or at least nobody would let you hop in a plane, right? And fly that aircraft on your own. You would get a flight instructor. Okay, I think it's 80 or 85%. I don't remember the exact number, but a large percentage of people who do their first flip on their own lose money on that deal, right? The percentage is astounding. Why? Generally because they buy it wrong, right? But then they fund it wrong. They don't do proper analysis on the ARV. Then they don't fix it to the market, or they fix it above market. They put so much money in it, they can't make money on the back end, right? Or they put so little into it that they can't get it sold. They don't price it accordingly, right? And then they overpay for everything. They get a high expensive agent to do the listing. That takes a lot of money out of the deal. They don't do the title hacks that I do. The net result is they end up losing money on their first deal 80 to 85% of the time. We can avoid that by you walking in, and now you will be able to do a deal, right? And you don't have to worry about that situation because you're going to be in a spot where you absolutely can get the right numbers done up front, because you're going to have coaching. You're going to have a bunch of people helping you with it. I want to be one of those people, obviously, and that's going to help you to avoid the obvious pitfalls of what's going to happen. With that, we're going to head to our next section of the show today, which is our really quick 60-second deal analysis. Let's hop on in. First of all, I'm going to load Privy. Privy is the tool that I use each and every single day to analyze deals. Give me just a moment here. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the Privy application. If you sign up for Privy, do me a huge favor and use my affiliate link. It's going to be right there on the screen. I greatly appreciate that. Quick shout out to Ken. We did a coaching call this week. Ken's going to be joining the ranks here shortly. Hope you're watching today, Ken. Thank you for taking the time out. Ken is in Houston, Texas. And they say that there's a lot of deals in Houston, Texas. Houston is a massive marketplace. We've got Privy filtered here to show me deals, fix and flip deals. Check out this filter based on an ARV of 75% or less with a list price up to $300,000. We want to see townhomes and single family homes. We want them actively listed on the market. You see here with that search criteria, 65 properties popped up. Does that mean that all of these are deals? It does not. Privy is using an artificial intelligence to filter the MLS in a way we've never been able to do before. In the past, I had to hop into the MLS, go zip code by zip code or neighborhood by neighborhood, and try to find the deals in that market. I was super good at it, but it was time consuming, right? So I didn't do it as often as I can now. With Privy, you can literally put your search criteria in and then find stuff that looks like a deal and then hop in and do a quick analysis to verify that it's a deal. It saves a ton of time. It will help get your brain locked in to that there are deals right there in your local market. And Privy is available in something like 80-90% of the markets in the US right now. So wherever you are, I can now help you to find a deal right there in your local market. Let's pop one open here. This one on Livingston, 156 grand, is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I generally prefer to do 3-bedroom houses, but for the sake of examples here, let's just leave this alone. We'll do the 2-bedroom. The house is listed at 156,000. It's a 2-2. Here's one that went for 252. And here's one that went for 272, less than a mile away from our subject property. Now, one thing I want you to note is that we don't necessarily we got to make sure we're filtering by dates, okay? Because in the past, if you go back more than 6 months, the June and July comps are just not accurate anymore. We really want to be looking at comps that happened, fourth quarter. So really October would be the ideal time to start comping these. Here's one. It is a 3-bedroom. We'd have to adjust for that a little bit, but it's saying that a house in this area could theoretically go for $252,000, which is $100,000 gap in between what this is listed at and what it could potentially be worth. Okay, so that gave us a quick deal. We now want to see the inside of it, and sometimes Privy has it right here, and sometimes you got to hop into a different area to see it. In this case, we had to hop into a different area, so I can't really show it to you now. I'm not going to hop in there, but I'm looking at the property right now. Actually, I am going to show it to you. Hold on just a sec. Let me stop screen here. Right? And I want you to see this Livingston property because it gives you an idea that not everything you hop into or everything you do has got to be super trashed, right? You think about flipping houses and the mindset is that it's going to be absolutely a disaster. It doesn't have to be the case. Here we go on this property on Livingston. It's dated. It's got some crazy paint colors in there, but that's kind of par for the course. But overall, it's in livable condition. I can tell because they're living in it. Right? When you buy a flip with my coaching program, we're not looking to buy something that's in devastatingly bad condition. Our objective is to make a minimum profit of $25,000 and teach you how to do that on a consistent basis. In my best year, I did 47 flips. Okay. Now I don't even encourage that anymore. You got to build an entire team for that. But when you're getting started, I'd like to see you do somewhere between 3 and 4 flips a year at a minimum profit of $25,000. If you're doing that, you've created a source of income that will allow you to obtain financial freedom by buying, buy, and hold investments. And you're going to be able to keep some of those properties because you have the income coming in from doing the flip. But this looks like a pretty easy remodel, right? Probably because it's a smaller house, maybe $20,000, $25,000 of remodel. And of course, I am purely speculating because I'm going off of the pictures. You're going to go see the property in person and get bids and quotes from local contractors. But let's assume we can get this done, right, for $25,000. We buy it for $156,000. We spend 25 grand fixing it. You're in it for roughly $180,000, and you're selling it for about $230,000 or $240,000. It won't quite be the $250,000 the comp went for because ours is a 2-bedroom and this is a 3-bedroom, right? So that's the variable. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so we can get face to face here again. But understand, guys, that the idea is there are deals in every single market as long as you're not looking for a home run. A lot of people go into flipping. They got these flipping shows on their mind. They're watching Than Merrill or Chip and Joanna Gaines. They're seeing them make 70, 80 grand. They're going, man, I could only do 1 flip a year and I'd be set. It sounds nice, but the reality is these guys are pros, okay? You're getting started, and because you're getting started, my objective is to help keep you out of harm's way by doing very basic remodels, small fix and flips that are going to prevent you from getting in over your head. I'm going to help you to find the deal. We're going to do the deal analysis together. I'm going to help you to fund the deal using my hard and private money lender sources that want to work with my clients. They'll give you a better deal because you're one of my clients. I'm going to help you to fix the property to market. I'm going to help you to flip it at an extreme discount compared to hiring a retail agent. The net result is you're going to make a consistent profit and be able to do multiple deals per year. Okay, so to wrap this all up, so we're getting to the end of the show today. If it is your goal, if you wrote down when I gave you that time that you're going to do your first deal in 2023, I want to talk to you. Let's hop on a coaching call. You can head out to ForeclosureDealsCoach.com, click on the link there to do an investor coaching assessment call. Right? We're going to spend 30, 45 minutes, discuss your goals, discuss your finances, and discuss if now is a good time for you to break the cycle and start investing in real estate on a part-time basis to eventually transition into full-time real estate investing using my guidance and coaching, over 300 flips, my funding, my lenders, everything you'll need to be successful in real estate investing. And that's it. That's our show for today, guys. I want to keep this kind of short and sweet to the basics. I love working with new clients, new investors. That's my passion. And this year, I'm going to take on 100 coaching students nationally that are going to do their first deal. We've already got 4 of them now under contract, and we just got started in January. Okay, so we're halfway through the month. People are coming in. I'll be posting more testimonial stories. We're going to be interviewing those clients right here on the show. So you're going to learn how they got their path, how they broke the cycle. But if you're listening to my voice right now and you want to get started, head out to ForeclosureDealsCoach.com. Let's get you started on doing your first deal in 2023. With that, this is Donnie Corum. I really want to thank you guys so much for tuning in each and every single week to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I do appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you this year to do your first deal. And remember, don't buy a house, buy a deal.